𝗕𝗏𝗃𝗃 YouTube channel. Right now I'm currently in the office of our workshop. Don't mind the steering wheels on top. These are actually our customized carbon fiber steering wheels. It's part of all the services our workshop provides. Now if you're interested in that, maybe we can talk about it in another video. But today I would actually like to focus on just the first initial part of every detailing and every car wash. Specifically, I would like to talk about our shampoos and the cloth that we use. Now, in Singapore's context, there are three major avenues where car owners can get to wash their car. First is the petrol kiosk for the ones who want the speedy car wash. Second is for the energetic and the enthusiasts who actually wants to wash the cars themselves. And last, you might be a frequent visitor or a loyal customer of a detailing shop. Now, today we would like to just focus on the first two aspects, which is the petrol kiosk and also the DIY car wash. In this video, we would like to talk about car washes in general. We'll be going through a few things. First, what are the main problems you may face when you're doing a car wash? What are some common bad habits that car owners may have? Some factors you have to consider when choosing your shampoo and your cloths. And last but not least, how different car wash can be in the local climate when compared to overseas, as you might see from other videos. But they are usually produced in countries such as like USA, Australia. Hence, the context might be a bit different. And we really want to zoom in on that today and talk about Singapore's local context. Now, what are the common problems or situations we see from these two washes? In DIY car washes, some car owners will just start with a bucket of water. Maybe it might be a soap water or it might be clear water and a single cloth, and then they'll just proceed to clean their car without pre-rinsing the car. Whereas in petrol kiosks, it's a common sight to see at a car wash where they will take buckets of water to splash onto your car before foaming your entire car. Now, we would like to start this video's first segment by asking everyone one question. Is pre-rinse necessary? As we dive into the pre-rinse process, we'd just like to take this chance to introduce the shampoos that are available on the market itself. Now, when it comes to car shampoos, Chemicalguys is a brand that I believe many are familiar with due to their overwhelming choice of shampoos. They have many flavored shampoos along with many different names. Now, one of the first few that we actually had a chance to try is the Honeydew Snow Foam Auto Wash Shampoo. It's a flavored shampoo that is, according to this, is a intense foam cleansing action which is safe for wax and sealant. It's actually one of the first shampoos that we started with. But recently we have actually switched out to a different type of shampoo, which is the 𝗕𝗏𝗄𝗃 𝗪𝒽. As you can see here, we bought a gallon due to our frequent usage of the shampoo. But for car owners who are doing your own car wash, you might find that these smaller bottles are actually much easier to use and carry around. Now, we also like to take this chance to introduce to you the Mr. Go shampoo that was recently featured in 𝗏𝗏𝗧𝗏𝒻𝒻's Chinese New Year Lucky Draw event. Now, this is a new product that was launched by Chemicalguys, and it's actually a parallel to their most popular shampoo, Mr. Clean. Now, why do we bring up the topic of shampoos? Flavored shampoos are very popular in the marketplace these days. But what is the use of a flavored shampoo? Is it really necessary to buy and use flavored shampoo? Now, if you are looking for an objective point of view from our answer, if you are looking at just the car wash portion, we do not believe that there's an additional benefit to the wash process or there's an added gloss when you use a flavored shampoo. We believe that it boils down to the personal preference of car owners themselves. When all is said and done, it might just be a marketing gimmick. But flavored shampoos still have a place in the marketplace. When we first started, like I said, we actually used this Honeydew Snow Foam Wash. And to me, sometimes after a day of detailing, when washing my own car, I still feel the urge to use something that smells good and gives me a sense of nostalgia. So definitely, we wouldn't rule out the use of Honeydew flavored shampoos. And we actually tried a few. There's the Honeydew shampoo, there's the watermelon shampoo, and of course, the citrus flavored shampoo. Now, most recently, in addition to, because of our use of foam cannons together with foam guards, we actually switched to a brand that's more suitable for our usage and maximizes the amount of suds that we have. It's actually our SONAX Profili Active Foam Energy. Now, this is a slightly bigger bottle, and like I said, retailers will tend to buy the bigger bottles due to our frequent usage of it. I believe that it does come in a smaller bottle. Continuing the topic of shampoos, shampoos are placed along a spectrum, and this is known as the pH level of the shampoo. We have shampoos that are on the far end that might be more citrus in nature, that have citrus flavors and might be more acidic in nature. These shampoos are ones that you should be careful of, whereas most of the shampoos, such as the flavored shampoos, they are listed as being safe for wax and sealants. These are usually on the pH neutral spectrum of the shampoo. Now, when you choose a shampoo, you have to choose wisely and be careful. Imagine if you have coated your car with about $100 worth of coating, would you really want to use a acidic shampoo that might wash away most of the coating? Especially if you are a car owner that decided that, hey, I just coated my car, I would like to maintain it myself on a weekly basis. Now, weeks and weeks of washing, if you use a very acidic shampoo, you might end up washing away the wax, sealants, and even coatings of your car. If you are more interested to find out about the process of multiple washes, you can check out our video. We have a video where we did 100 wash tests on the panel using that's coated with different types of coatings. We did it on the wax panel, sealant panel, and then the graphene and the ceramic coatings that we commonly use. So be sure to check the video out, and we can maybe dive deeper into it next time. Now, acidic shampoos do wash away, do have the risk of washing away the wax, sealants, and the coatings. But we also have to give it credit because acidic shampoos do excel in washing very dirty cars that you might have a lot of dirt embedded into the car paint itself. But on the other end of the spectrum, what about pH neutral shampoos? Now, pH neutral shampoos have lesser, I wouldn't say lesser washing capabilities, but they are less acidic in nature, so they wouldn't harm the car that much. However, if you think about it, if it doesn't harm the car, then it also carries the problem of it not being able to remove as much embedded dirt as compared to an acidic shampoo. And this small portion is more or less the pros and cons and benefits of both an acidic versus a pH neutral shampoo. Now, since we are on the topic of shampoos, we do know, to our knowledge as detailers, there are car owners with many unorthodox methods of washing your car. We have heard of car owners using mama lemon or even sieve to wash your car. The common questions that we do get is that, do I really have to buy a car shampoo? Is it really that important, and what benefits do we have? Well, to answer that, you can, safe to say, because products like mama lemon and sieve and even detergents, they are made for cleaning purposes. So definitely they can wash your car. For all that matters, you can even use a baby shampoo to wash your car. However, car shampoos are different because they are made with the purpose to wash your car. So definitely when you use these shampoos, it is safe for your car's framework. You wouldn't have the issue of it damaging your car's framework due to it affecting the paint's clear coat. You wouldn't have to worry about when you're using the right shampoo, you wouldn't have to worry about it washing away your wax or your sealant. Whereas you run the risk of that happening when you use products such as mama lemon or sieve. So to sum it up, car shampoos help to protect your car, be it protecting your car's wax, sealant, ceramic coating or graphene coating. Whereas generic everyday products such as mama lemon, they would run the risk of damaging your car's coating. Back to the question that we mentioned and we asked at the start of the video, is PreGreens necessary? Now, before we go into that, we also want to just spend a bit of time talking about Singapore's local climate, like we promised at the start of the video. Now, the problem with Singapore's climate as opposed to overseas context is that we are in an urban city. So when we are in an urban city, what we face is very different to the driving conditions and the landscape as compared to Australia or America. In overseas, the States or Australia, you might be expecting long drives on the open, in the open, with long highways. Hence, the common problems that they might face will be things like dirt, insects that might stick onto their car paint. Which is why a lot of the products you see that are developed overseas are usually called insect removal or tar removal. However, in Singapore's context, it's slightly different because of the amount of plantation and trees we have. Everywhere we drive, we do see trees, and in many open air car parks, we even park under the trees. So the common problems that we will face as car owners are, we will mainly be looking at our cars being exposed to a list of things such as like tree saps, berries, nuts, hardened tree leaves, twigs, and even bird droppings and other miscellaneous stuff. Now, taking this into context, we believe, as detailers, to our knowledge, is that PreGreens is actually not only necessary, it's actually very important when you're washing a car in Singapore. Now, let's talk about the PreGreens process. PreGreens involves you foaming the car and then letting the foam sit on the car to soften any embedded or dirt that is on the car itself. What this actually does is that as the foam slowly rolls off the car or the soap just sticks onto the car itself, it removes the layer of dirt, especially when you rinse it away with pressure washer. What this does is actually remove the amount of contaminants on the car itself before you actually use a cloth to clean the car. Why is this important? Because this helps to reduce the chances of swirls happening when you clean the car. And we're going back to the topic about how Singapore's context gives you a different set of variables. All these things that we listed just now are actually very crucial. All these things are actually very harmful to your car paint, as they have a higher chance of sticking onto the car paint itself. If you do notice in our past videos, we actually do have the habit of foaming the car twice. So the first one is actually like what we mentioned, it is the pre-rinse process. So we just foam the car and then we just rinse away the soap and everything. Now, there are products that are designed specifically for this. SONAX does have a product known as the Fallout, whereas we ourselves, we use the Rupes cleaner mop. All these chemicals that work on the car paint itself, it serves at the same purpose as the initial foam, is just to remove the contaminants. All these wouldn't be as effective and wouldn't be useful if you just use water itself, because water it doesn't act as a very good solvent and lubricant as compared to soap. And when you compare soap, there's actually, of course, you would prefer for it to be in a foam. So that's why we actually use SONAX coffee lines active foam energy a lot. It actually helps us to really get a very thick layer of foam that can stick onto the car paint itself and help us do the car wash more efficiently. Now, a common criticism and comment that we do get is that foaming the car twice and doing this pre-rinse process, it actually is very time consuming. Not to mention it's actually also, from our point of view, it's actually a higher cost. But at 𝗕𝗵𝗄𝗃, we actually do believe in going the extra mile for our customers, even at the expense of a higher cost for us. That's because we really do believe that we want to give our customers the best care for their car and give our customers the absolute most value for money services. Talking about the topic of DIY car washes and also petrol kiosks, the topic of water that we want to touch on is that one factor that is seldom brought up in washing videos on this platform, on this video platform, is that Singapore's water is actually very different from overseas. Now, because our tap water are made to be safe for drinking, it actually contains more chemicals such as chlorine and fluorine that makes it safe for everyday usage for drinking. But all these are actually very harmful for your car paint itself. The common habit that we know that some car owners do, especially busy moms and dads, is that they would tend to drive their car to the washing bay and then just spray the car with tap water and drive off immediately. Now, you might get a misconception that this would be actually a form of cleaning the car, similar to how you feel that the rain might clean your car. Now, this is actually very harmful for the car because of the chemicals that are in the water itself. When you drive off with your car still wet, if it gets exposed by the sun or if it dries up on its own, it actually will create more water spots on your car. Water spots is something that we would like to touch on more in the future, but the long story short is that it actually harms your car's outlook, it harms your car's shine, and definitely it would damage your car's coating as well. In the context of petrol kiosk wash, the problems that we would like to raise up is not so much with the clear water itself, it's actually with the cloth that they use. Now, petrol kiosks, due to the downtime that is required and needed for their operations, they might not have enough time to properly clean the cloth at the end of each car wash. Hence, we wouldn't rule out the possibility that by the time the cloth reaches your car, as you are in the queue for the car wash, this cloth might have been used for the 5th or the 8th or the 10th time when cleaning cars. Now, what problem this causes is that a dirty cloth with any contaminants that are on it would actually cause more scratches and swirls to be formed on the car. Now, these swirls and scratches are not that visible to the naked eye, but when you do shine a light source onto the car paint itself, it becomes very glaringly obvious. And like we mentioned, all this will damage the car paint's condition and affect the shine of the car. Now, what sets us apart from the typical petrol kiosk wash is the usage of our cloths. Now, we'd like to show you more of the cloths that we use. We have the typical thin microfiber cloths. We do have the 𝗕𝗏𝗀𝗁𝗏 cloth. And right here is something that you might find that it looks a bit fluffier and thicker. This is actually one of our drying cloths. Now for today's video, we would just like to focus on microfiber cloths and drying cloths. Now, how are cloths differentiated and tiered? They are actually tiered and listed along the spectrum by a factor known as GSM, which stands for grams per square meter. Now, what is GSM? For example, you can see here on this very thin cloth that you might see from petrol kiosks. This is actually, if I'm not wrong, is the Armour All cloth. This is actually a microfiber cloth, but it would not be as fluffy and it doesn't feel as a higher quality when compared to these cloths that we use. These green cloths are actually ones that we got from 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏. It belongs to the 𝗪𝗵𝗆𝗏𝗏 brand from Bodyguard series. As detailers, we also have a habit and the practice of buying multiple different colored cloths. This is because each of our cloths are serves different purposes. For example, these yellow cloths are reserved for use for cleaning the car body, while we do have the black cloths that are used for the rims due to the amount of brake dust that we commonly see in those areas. Now, green cloths are used for buffing, whereas red cloths are used for buffing off coating. Now, introducing the different type of cloths and moving along the tier of the GSM. First off, we have the washing cloths. This is actually cloths that are of GSM of 120 to 180. These are relatively low GSM cloths. Now, these cloths are useful for washing because having these cloths are actually useful for washing because having low GSM decreases the chance of it trapping too much dirt and might scratch the car. Whereas we have these cloths on the next tier, these are about 200 to 280 GSM. This is actually a buffing cloth. Buffing cloth tends to have a higher GSM because you need it to remove remove elements such as compounds and polishing oils, as compared to just a washing cloth where it's needed to wash the car. Now, of course, the last thing that we'd like to touch on today is actually the drying cloths. This on my hand now is actually SONAX drying cloth. It's the XL version. We actually got this cloth from our friends at SONAX Singapore earlier in the year, and we absolutely love it. Now, the issue with drying cloths actually is that many car owners or retailers might neglect is that drying cloths actually have a very high GSM. Now, the problem with that is that having high GSM means that your microfibers, the fibers are thicker, so that you can trap more dirt. So if a car is not washed properly, it actually carries the risk of you scratching the car even more during the drying process. Hence, the drying process actually you need to do it very carefully. The reason why this cloth has such a high GSM and can afford to is because as a drying cloth, by the time it reaches the drying process, the car should be theoretically clean. Hence, the only job of this cloth is actually just to absorb the water. Now, you might notice that there are two sides to it. This part is actually supposed to absorb most of the water, while the back part is supposed to be used to clean out the streaks that are left behind that couldn't have been removed from this. So a common problem that detailers might actually neglect is that, well, when you're drying the car, sometimes some detailers might have the tendency to dry the car doors and then go down to the car's side skirt. And if you happen to neglect these small grooves and areas during the washing process, you might end up bringing the dust and the dirt or grime from that area up to the next spanner when you decide to clean or dry the car door. Now, when it comes to drying the car, you will always want to take a top-down approach. You start with the top of the car and slowly work your way down. Because as the general rule of thumb goes, like washing, the bottom part of the car is always the dirtiest. Now, of course, when it comes to drying, we can always we can always approach it a different way. There's always the use of a blower, which is the safest, no contact method of drying the car. However, I believe that's a topic for another day. Well, at Supreme Shine, we believe in using quality products, like I said, to give our customers the best value for money services that we can afford. The cloth that we use, like this SONAX drying cloth, is actually of a higher grade and quality, but it's definitely something that we look to provide our customers with, so that we can clean their car in the safest, non-invasive way possible. Now, if this cloth looks familiar, it's actually because you probably have seen it from our previous video. It's the G30's polishing and coating video. As you can see from that video itself, we actually open up 2 new SONAX drying cloths for that appointment alone. Now, the typical lifespan of a microfiber cloth under intensive use is about 2 to 3 months. After which the fibers on the cloth will actually start to harden, and it wouldn't be suitable for use on cars itself. That's why at Supreme Shine we are actually very particular about this. We regularly replace our cloths, and if we do find that a cloth has already gone past its expiry date, we will definitely remove it out of our rotation and we will use it for non-detailing purposes. Now, the way that you wash the cloth will also actually affect the fibers of the microfiber itself. Now, that's a topic that we also will be interested to revisit on another day. Now, we would actually like to end off this video by introducing 2 types of cloths that we feel is a very important information for everyday car owners to think about. Now, this cloth over here, you might notice that it has a black outline along it. You might find it familiar from the recent Shell promotion that they have been running. This is usually given out as a free gift. Whereas the cloth that we will be introducing as our detailing cloth for this video, you might notice that there is no outline on it. It's actually over here. It's actually put together by a seam. Now, these cloths are the cheaper type of microfiber cloths that you might find at about the price range of about $3 to $5 for about 3 to 5 cloths, which averages about $1 per cloth. But these cloths actually come at a higher cost. The red ones are actually about $3 to $5 per cloth. Now, what's the difference between these two? The difference between quality comes from the fact that they are of both different GSM, and also the fact that this is actually a black border, and this border is actually made out of plastic. Now, imagine when you use this cloth to clean your car, you actually be running a piece of plastic along your car paint itself, which is as harmful as it sounds. Compared to this cloth that we use, which is the ageless microfiber cloth, this cloth is safe because there's only the seams at the end. Now, this cloth is something that we absolutely would never use for our customers' car, and we don't even use it for our cars. These are actually reserved for other usage such as a normal tablecloth or maybe just cleaning our own equipment.
Hi everyone, if you have reached to this part of the video, we would like to thank you for watching our video. We really hope you enjoyed it and found it informative. We are trying something new and we look forward to changing the landscape of Singapore's detailing scene. Now, if you like this video, please consider giving it a thumbs up and subscribing to our channel for more content like this. For any questions, comments or suggestions for future videos, please leave them in the comment section down below. In our description box for the video down below, we will also include useful links regarding the products that we have. We love hearing from our viewers and we always appreciate your feedback. Lastly, don't forget to check out our other videos on our channel. We cover a variety of topics and we are sure that you'll find something that you're interested in. These videos take about 10 to 15 hours to produce for each, including the editing, filming and the script writing, so we really hope that you can share your thoughts on it. Thank you again for watching and we'll see you in the next video.